Worrying is a curious thing. It masquerades as responsibility, as a form of protection. We feel like we are being cautious, preparing for the worst. But if we pause for a moment, we'll see that worry is not our protector, it is merely fear, rehearsing for a future that hasn't yet arrived, and most of the time, will never come. In Buddhist teachings, there is a core concept known as dukkha, often translated as suffering or unsatisfactoriness. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering arises from our attachment to outcomes, and our incessant clinging to the illusion of control. We worry because we think we can control life. But in reality, life flows beyond our control. Worry keeps us stuck in the future, preventing us from truly experiencing the present moment. How much mental energy do we spend on imagining what might go wrong? How many nights do we lie awake, our minds swirling with what-if scenarios, imagining disasters that have not even happened yet? This is the trap of worry. It distracts us from what is truly important, being present and aware in the here and now. The trap of worry. The mind, when consumed with worry, tricks us into thinking we are being responsible. We tell ourselves, "I'm preparing for the worst. I'm being cautious." But what we don't realize is that worrying doesn't prepare us, it only drains us. The Buddha taught that attachment to the future, or the desire to control what's to come, only leads to suffering. Worry is born from this attachment. Imagine the mind as a tree with branches full of endless possibilities. Each branch represents a different scenario, and each scenario is a what-if thought that sends us spiraling into fear and anxiety. But when we are constantly jumping from branch to branch, we fail to notice the ground beneath us, the solid foundation that is right here, right now. Worrying doesn't make us wiser, more in control, or more prepared. It locks us into a state of anxiety, keeping us in a loop of mental unrest. We exhaust ourselves, both mentally and physically, without any real gain. The more we worry, the less we are able to live with clarity and mindfulness. The Buddha often spoke about samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. In modern life, this cycle can manifest as our constant mental looping. Worrying about something that has not yet happened creates mental suffering, which only keeps us trapped in the endless cycle of fear and anxiety. Shifting from worry to focus. When we stop worrying, we don't become careless. Quite the opposite, we become focused. We stop scattering our energy across countless what-ifs, and start channeling it toward what is happening right now. This shift from worry to presence is at the heart of Buddhist practice. The Buddha taught that true peace comes from being present. In the Satipatthana Sutta, the Buddha outlines the practice of mindfulness sati, which involves being fully aware of our thoughts, actions, and sensations without judgment. When we practice mindfulness, we stop clinging to the past or the future. We learn to embrace each moment as it is, without labeling it as good or bad. Think of it this way. When you worry, you're mentally preparing for something that might never occur. But when you let go of that worry, you open yourself to the present. You can engage with the world as it is, not as you imagine it to be. This is the essence of the Buddhist concept of non-attachment vairagya. When we let go of our attachment to future outcomes and expectations, we can experience life with an open heart and mind. Let's return to a story that beautifully illustrates this shift. In a small village nestled on the edge of a mountain, a great storm approached. The winds howled, and the sky turned dark. Villagers rushed to secure their homes, fearing the worst. Among them, there was a monk sitting calmly by the window, watching the storm. A villager, anxious and frantic, approached the monk and asked, "Aren't you afraid of the storm?" The monk smiled gently and replied, "I am not afraid of the storm, for the storm is not inside me." The storm continued to rage outside, but the monk remained at peace. After the storm passed, the monk was still standing, calm and composed, while the rest of the villagers were shaken by fear and anxiety. The lesson here is profound. The storm represents the external challenges and uncertainties of life. We cannot control these storms, but we can choose how we respond to them. When we let go of worry, when we stop fighting the storm inside our minds, we find peace even in the midst of chaos. The Buddha often reminded his followers that peace does not come from controlling the world. It comes from mastering the mind, moving from fear to peace. When you stop worrying, you don't lose your sense of responsibility, you gain clarity. You stop worrying about potential problems, and instead focus on responding to what is happening in the moment. This shift from fear to presence is a key aspect of the Buddha's teachings on mindfulness. In every part of life, whether it's in your relationships, your work, or your personal growth, the absence of worry allows you to make decisions with clarity, not out of fear. When you're no longer consumed by worry, even mistakes don't feel like disasters. You stop interpreting every misstep as a sign that things are falling apart, and instead, you view them as opportunities to learn and grow. The Buddha often spoke about right action, one of the factors of the Noble Eightfold Path. Right action is not about avoiding mistakes or problems. It is about acting with awareness, presence, and intention. When you are free from the grip of worry, your actions become more intentional and aligned with your true values. Worry, the addictive illusion. Worry is addictive, but not in the way we think. It doesn't give us comfort or peace. Instead, it gives us the illusion of control. By worrying, we feel like we are doing something about the problems we imagine. But in reality, we are just caught in a mental trap, constantly spinning our wheels without going anywhere. The Buddha taught that attachment to thoughts, especially fear-based thoughts, leads to suffering. Worry is a form of attachment. It keeps us mentally busy, but it doesn't solve the real problems of life. Instead of living in the present, we live in a world of imagined scenarios that may never even come to pass. What if, instead of feeding into the cycle of worry, we simply took a step back and recognized it for what it is, an illusion? The Buddha taught that true liberation comes when we break free from the mental patterns that keep us trapped in suffering. Worry is one of these patterns. Letting go of the need for closure, the Buddhist wisdom of patience. One of the most freeing practices you can embrace is letting go of the need for closure. Life does not unfold according to a perfectly scripted plan. It happens in moments, in layers, in pauses. Sometimes, the wisest thing we can do is wait, not with impatience, but with patience. The Buddha often spoke of the importance of patience kanti. Patience is not simply waiting for something to happen. It is the ability to remain calm and peaceful while things are unfolding in their own time. We don't need to rush to resolve everything. Life will unfold as it should. And we must have the patience to trust the process. When we stop trying to control every outcome, we allow ourselves to experience life as it is, imperfect, unpredictable, and beautiful. This is the essence of Buddhist practice. To be present with life, without clinging to outcomes or rushing for closure. The quiet superpower, trusting in uncertainty. The Buddhist teachings on impermanence remind us that life is always changing. Nothing lasts forever. And everything is in a constant state of flux. Worry arises when we cling to the idea that we can control the future, that we can prevent change, or stop uncertainty from entering our lives. The truth is, uncertainty is an inherent part of life. But when we stop fighting it, when we stop resisting the unknown, we find peace. This is the quiet superpower the Buddha spoke of, the ability to sit with uncertainty, to remain at peace even when life is uncertain. The more we learn to trust in the present moment, the more we align ourselves with the flow of life. By letting go of the need for certainty, we free ourselves from the chains of worry and fear. We open ourselves to the beauty of life, just as it is, without needing to control every aspect of it. The gift of peace in the present moment. The Buddha taught that peace does not come from controlling the external world. It comes from mastering the mind. When we stop worrying, we stop allowing our minds to create unnecessary suffering. We stop clinging to thoughts, emotions, and outcomes that are beyond our control. And in doing so, we free ourselves to live fully in the present moment. When we let go of worry, we create space for the present to unfold. We trust in the process of life, knowing that we don't need to have all the answers, and that uncertainty is not a threat, but a part of the natural flow of existence. So, as you move forward, remember this. You don't need to solve every problem before you can breathe. You don't need to anticipate every outcome before you allow yourself to rest. The true peace you seek is already within you. It's just waiting for you to stop worrying and start being present. If this message resonates with you, like, comment, and subscribe to Buddha Motivation. Let's continue this journey together, living with peace, presence, and wisdom in every moment. You're not here to worry your way through life. You're here to live it. Let's keep doing that together.